Let's welcome Tony and Sabrina to the stage. So grab your chairs quickly. Tony and Sabrina have written down some questions that they are going to be asking of me. I have not seen them. I don't know what they're going to be asking, which of course has a certain amount of uh-oh involved in it. But you guys are used to my uh-ohs, so that's okay. So let's, and then we're gonna do this for what, 15, 20 minutes, and then they have some ideas they wanna share with you on mindset, customer service, etc. Okay?
Well,
so,
before we get started, I'd just like to say, this is a man who gives you every opportunity to practice all of those 21 points in the Mike Ferry sales system, starting with versatility, because probably half of you just saw me running down the hall both ways. We were dealing with a little issue, and Mike said, go get a mic. You're going to be on stage next. Thanks, honey.
you're so very welcome.
Yes,
for sure.
yes, yes.
So,
I'm,
Hey, Tony.
I'm excited because you usually do this to us. We don't get the questions in advance or anything like that.
well, you know what's funny? We did this about 5, 6 years ago, Sabrina and I, and it was interesting. A bunch of the brokers got so angry that she was interviewing me and we were discussing things that affect all of us. And I said to him, how immature are you 5 people that are this mad about the fact that I invite my wife, and in this case Tony, to come up on the stage and share the stage with me? But I did notice that those 5 brokers no longer are customers and don't come to our events, so. You know,
Well, and the other thing that I would say to that, and I think you guys all know this, that Mike doesn't hold back. Spouse? It is still the same thing, and one of the things that Tony and I were just talking about were some of the questions we could ask you. And Tony had written down some really great ones, but this truly is, and it's something I learn every day with Mike. And someone said to me here at this event, wow, you know, it must be interesting being married to Mike Ferry. To which I said, it is very interesting being married to Mike Ferry.
I'm taking that as a compliment.
You should. You should. You definitely should. And I can honestly tell you, I learn every day from you, and I will always be grateful as well as in love with you.
Thank you.
You aren't getting that from me.
Okay.
You aren't getting that from me.
Watch.
Keep your hands off my guy. So
okay,
Tony, let's go to your
Tony,
question.
follow that.
Let's start with number 1.
So sure, start with the I love you part. How's that gonna work, right? So
Really well.
I wrote this first question down,
Hey, Tony,
Mike.
come on.
Do you want to switch chairs?
Did my face turn red? Turned red. Whatever.
Your ears are red.
My ears are red too? Yeah.
Kind of look like my jacket right now.
So first question, okay, now here's just a reminder, helpful hint for the 2 of you. Don't speak while they're laughing.
What happens when we're laughing?
I have privilege.
Go ahead, Tony.
Okay, so the first question I wrote down, of all the skills we've been working on, and we're not through with them yet, but in your opinion, what is the most important part of the Mike Ferry sales system?
Well, today, because of the economy and the inflation and the uncertainty in the market and the fact that a lot of buyers that really are qualified can't buy because their personal income has not come up with the inflationary costs, even though they have larger equities than ever in their home, pre-qualifying. And I really think for all of our great coaches, because we have probably 50 or 60 of them that are here, if you would start your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, next week calls with, are you honestly pre-qualifying every buyer and seller every time, no exceptions? And I think if we, as leaders, if we do that, and if we can get all these great brokers and managers to start working on that same thing, their productivity and gross revenues will increase and all of your production will get better. So pre-qualifying, I think, is absolutely number 1.
Mm-hmm. So does that go for the brokers too in pre-qualifying the agents that they?
Well, I think that brokers should be pre-qualifying agents more than ever. Because, watch, it's a tough business just normally. It's really a tough business today. I mean, I saw something that Juan Martinez, who's a 35-year friend and a great client of mine, shared with me about 2 months ago, that the turnover now among the agents that are new is so much shorter in terms of speed of getting in and getting out that sometimes you hardly get to know them before they're gone. So the pre-qualifying of, if you're going to recruit somebody onto your team or recruit for your company, and you're not willing to go through the pre-qualifying process, you know, you're just wasting your time in almost every case.
So I have to ask you, because yesterday you said that people don't pre-qualify because they're afraid of the answers.
Yes.
They're still going to be afraid of the answers on Monday. How did they get over that? What can you
Watch.
give them to hang on to?
There's nothing to hang on to. Either they're qualified or they're not. I mean, it's not brain surgery. Watch, either the person has some experience, has some desire, has some strong motivation, but most important, has some experience, this is repetitious, has some, or they don't. And then if you take somebody over age 50 that's been in corporate America on a salary for a long time and semi-retired, I mean, the odds are so minimal. Or you take somebody under 30 that's got the 4-day beard, the baseball hat on backwards, and shows up in, you know, jeans and a t-shirt. Who are they going to possibly present to looking like that? So eliminate is probably the most important word in pre-qualifying.
And how about for the agents?
Same thing. I mean, if the seller doesn't have the absolute and/or buyer ability to make a decision upon the presentation, why make the presentation? I mean, if they don't have that desire to do something, what's the point? Second question.
So I've watched you do this, and I'm always amazed at it, is in the middle of all this stuff that goes on, backstage, there's a million things going on. In the company, there's a million things going on,
Yes.
all the time.
All the time.
How do you manage to keep going back to keeping it simple?
Well, there's 3 separate things taking place simultaneously when we do a seminar. There is the audience and the situations and problems that you deal with as an audience. And if you have 50 people, there's this many problems. If you have 500, there's this many. You have 1,500, there's this many. I mean, one of our best clients just passed out in the hallway, and they had to call security and call ambulances in. And, you know, Sabrina said, "Oh my God, oh my God." I said, "Well, did you call security? Did you call the ambulances? Are they taking care of them?" "Yes."
Well,
then,
actually, what you said was get mic'd up.
that's what I actually said. But watch, so there's one seminar going on with the audience. The second seminar was going on behind the screen with the technicality part of this whole program and keeping that thing running smoothly. And then there's third, what you, I, and Ron present. So it's easy for me to focus on what you and I and Ron have to present because Sabrina's in charge of what goes on back there. We have staff provided to service you folks out there, so my job is just to present. And we have all these incredibly strong agents that have a right to get the information. And that's my belief.
Yeah.
So.
The one thing that I will say to that is think of how many times something goes wrong in your day. Does everybody know about it? Does anyone know about it? Mike is, you know, he's just, go get a mic. This is what you're doing next. Is the person okay who had the issue? Yes, I think we've got that handled. Well, good. So what are you going to worry about that for now? Come and do this. And it's really interesting to me how he can always switch back and forth. But he doesn't go through these really big waves.
No.
He's, you know, how many times have we all heard him say you have to keep your emotions between the lines? Mm-hmm. My lines are a little bit bigger. his lines are a lot smaller. But you get to control what those lines are. And if you're finding that you are emotional or exhausted, take a look at how much drama you let come into your life. This man, no matter pretty much what happens, he just sort of looks at me and goes, "You're still alive. You're okay. Let's go, we're late."
Yeah. Well, watch. Address the things you can control and let the things you can't control take care of themselves because you can't control them.
Sometimes that's really annoying.
Here's somebody. Well, I mean, somebody that I happen to like a lot passed out with a little bit of a heart problem. I'm very concerned, but I'm not a doctor, so let them take care of him. And the truth is, he'll live, so next.
Were you born that way?
Oh,
I got dropped on my head a lot as a child. Well, I came from very indecisive family background. Let's start with my three boys, Matt, Tom, and Pat. They're all quadruple analyticals. The four of us are sitting down. I'll say, "Let's go to dinner. Do you guys want to go?" They have to have a meeting to decide. Watch, either get in the car or stay home. I'm going. You know. So
it's true.
So good.
All right, let's try another question, Tony.
All right.
We have a question from the audience. Can we take questions?
who's got their hand up?
Lori, right over here. Address the things that you can control and let go of the things you can't.
If I can control it, I'm going to address it, participate in it, get it taken care of. If I can't control it, I let it go because there's nothing I can do about it. You know, I can't control if you have to go to the bathroom and run out of the room. But if you're running, I figure you're going to the bathroom. If you're walking, you're probably bored, so I need to get you more re-engaged.
Let's try another question.
Okay, then. So complacency's come up several times in the last day and a half. With the size of commissions today, what would your advice be today to have agents work to stay out of complacency?
Well, if you're in complacency, it means you're satisfied with the status quo. And it's a wonderful level to arrive at as long as it is positive and there's some growth and some rewards for you in that. So I've told probably 10 or 15 people yesterday and today, commit to buying something in the next 30 days that makes you terribly uncomfortable and you have to do more deals to pay for it. And almost every response is, well, what? Then I start with, what kind of car do you drive? A Toyota. No, what kind of car do you drive? It's not a car. It's a skateboard with seats on it. Buy a car that you get excited about, and you get really excited when you have to pay for it each month. But you have to do something to commit outside of what your comfort zone is. So as she knows so well, you know, we have this beautiful 112-foot yacht, and every time we get on that damn thing, I see these goddamn boats that are 150 going by, and I'm going, honey, why don't we have that boat? But either we're going to have a 150-foot or we're not going to have a boat. It's not that complicated. And based on her response, we'll be having a probably paddleboard soon.
I have a paddleboard, but thank you. It is interesting how you are never complacent. And what is so interesting, because I've listened to Mike answer this question many, many times, understand that you can be complacent at any level.
Oh, yeah.
Complacency can be, I'm homeless, to I live in a mansion. It is where you decide that you are no longer motivated. And it was interesting because Mike and I had this great conversation about what excites you. And people come up to him all the time and say, Mike, I'm just not motivated. I'm just not excited about the business anymore. And he just looks at them and goes, well, get excited or get out, because the people who you're working with deserve for you to be excited about what you're doing.
Yeah, that's right. So I read this article a couple days ago, and I don't remember if it's $7 million or $17 million per minute that Jeff Bezos gets. Per minute, 24 hours a day. I think it was 7 million per minute. Shit, I just lost 7 million. I mean, 1 minute, 7 million. So we still have some growth in front of us.
Well, and I get chased around every time some hockey player, football player, baseball player, coach is traded or moves somewhere else or gets a new deal, and he's like, do you know that Belichick was making 25 million to coach football? And I'm looking at him going, you know, you guys all know Craig Shoemaker, who goes, look in here, see anyone who cares? Well, that's kind of my answer, but he's going to tell me anyways, because he's always looking at that and going, think about that.
How do we do that?
How big is that? And then he's telling me about a baseball player who got 600 million and a golfer who went to LIV for 600.
750 million is what he
So
got.
I keep looking at him going, well, go practice, honey. Go practice, for goodness sakes.
We just need to do one seminar in the Coliseum with 100,000 people and charge, you know, $5,000 per person. And then guess what I'd be spending my time on? My 190-foot boat.
But again, understand that complacency is your state of mind. You're allowing it. And you also have the choice to get out of it. Look around the room. Are there people who are doing more deals or have something that you want, or you look at them and say, wow, well, why can't you do that? Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not excited.
Yeah, there it is.
How many times I've heard that yesterday and today? People walk up and just not excited. Go home, do something else. Whatever you want to do something to excite yourself.
So Tony, let's ask the next question because we're trying to save his voice, so we'll get him off.
So what do you do to maintain what we see as one of the strongest mindsets that I know personally?
I don't consider myself having a strong mindset. I have an obligation to people to do my job. That's it.
Yeah. I will also tell you guys that this guy is just different. No, I'm serious. I don't mean that in any other way, but literally for the mindset that he has, it is so strong and it's always positive. The short version of something that most of you know is Mike and I were victims of an armed home invasion. And when they let us come back together after being tied up on the floor, guns to our heads, guns to his head, all of that stuff, we really went through that. And he's looking at me, and the first thing this man says to me is, do you want to know the good news?
And this was in front of Yasmin's husband, by the way.
Who was the second officer in our house in Naples. You want to know the good news? Well, let me tell you, right about now, there is no good news. And he's looking at me with this big smile on his face. And then, after he tells me what he thought was the good news, he said, thank God this didn't happen to our neighbors.
Well, no, tell him what the good news was.
The good news was that we could buy me all new jewelry because they took everything.
That's right.
He's all excited. He's like, I got Christmas for the next 25 years locked up. But that is how he thinks. And it is always interesting that no matter what happens, if he would ever look at me and go, oh my gosh, you're kidding, I'd probably drop dead because I wouldn't know what to do. No matter what I come to him and talk about, his answer is always, well, it's okay, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You guys remember he sent out, for all the coaching clients, he sent out an email at the end of December about the company, and he said, there is always a solution for every problem. Mm-hmm. That's what he honestly believes. Think about this for a second. Have any of you been through anything traumatic in your life?
Yeah.
Did you survive?
Yes.
Are you still alive? Isn't that amazing?
It's good news.
It's great news. Look what you can live through and make it through. So today, maybe we all need to be a little more excited about the potential that we have. So.
That's right.
But Tony has another question.
So what is the biggest challenge us as real estate agents are going to face this year?
Well, for the people that are probably started in real estate 2020 COVID forward, they're going to have to be challenged by understanding that the equities these people have, they don't have. Meaning they can't grab it and hold on to it and sell it and buy something else. The number of transactions is down in 23 over 22. Gosh, 3 million less transactions took place. Maybe it's actually about 2.6. And I think so now for the veterans, it's not allowing the fact that this market has been hit with a baseball bat right in the forehead. The people that you deal with don't care. All they know is that you can do the job for them. So for the veterans in this room, the first 10 rows, I mean, you should be excited as heck because the competition is dwindling so fast. Some of the reports say this crazy lawsuit in Kansas City or wherever the hell it was about NAR and Berkshire Hathaway and I don't know who the other company was. Was it
KW.
KW? I mean, folks, first of all, it would be a miracle if that thing is settled within 3 years. I mean, well, there's been more lawsuits filed. Of course, attorneys are going to file lawsuits. That's what they do for a living. That lawsuit that took place has no effect on you at all, and no effect on your customers. So I think if you're pre-COVID and you've been doing well, your opportunities are bigger and better than ever because they're estimating, and I saw this for Randy and some of you, Tracy, I probably asked me to send you the report from KW that Gary produced.
Yeah.
Good. And if you read it, he's projecting that there could be 400,000 to 500,000 less agents in 2 years. I was shocked when I read it because KW is like so many of your great companies, a recruiting machine. So we could get back to 900, 800,000 agents, of which still 50% aren't going to do anything, so your competition is dwindling as you get better.
Yeah.
Which is exciting.
Was that your last
Tony,
That was
wake
my
question?
up.
my last question.
So we're going to let you go rest your voice.
Good.
And Tony and I are going to stay out here and talk to you guys about 2 of the topics that are still to be covered.
Here's to you. See you guys. See you tomorrow.